Here is a 17-year-old Tiger Woods in one of his earliest sessions with Butch Harmon in 1993. Boy, you barely even recognize Butch here. So this would have been just before Tiger's senior year at Western High School in Anaheim, California, a year before he went off to Stanford and about 9 months before he won his first U.S. amateur. Now, when you watch this golf swing, you always have to wonder, why would he ever change? Why would he ever have made such major changes repeatedly throughout his career when his swing was already so good? So right after this, let's do a little bit of study into the swing of young Mr. Tiger Woods, see what we can learn from it, and also see what they were working on at the time. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com. Hey, I think a great place to begin here is looking at Tiger's setup. You're going to see some things a little bit different than they were later in his career. First, check out his stance. Look how much narrower his stance is than you would expect. It's pretty narrow. Definitely something that I've been preaching on this channel for a long time. You can see he's got a nice, aggressively forward ball position. And I think another highlight of this setup from back then is that he had a pretty strong left-hand grip. Now, that's kind of the opposite of a lot of the students I see in person for the first time. Most average golfers simply don't turn their left hand over on top enough, end up with their thumb more at 12 o'clock with their hand on the side of the grip. And this can often start that cycle of the outside in slicing and missing the ball off to the right a lot. Now let's watch as Tiger takes the club back. You'll see because of the narrow stance, his hips are able to be a lot more freely mobile, what looks like a lot more natural movement or response. Much different than the restricted hip action he started to show later in his career. But this makes it just look so much more fluid. Now I want you to watch something really subtle as he reaches the top of the swing. I'm going to draw a line at the beginning of the swing down his right hip to the ground, and I want you to see that he is going to break through this line as he nears the top of the swing. He's got a little bit of a lateral hip bump, very similar to Davis Love, the third swing, which was also a very natural classic swing, and what was espoused by Mike Austin. Now this hip bump happens pretty naturally in young kids when they swing a club until it's usually coached out of them. And that, I think, is the one good thing that his first coach, Rudy Duran, just kind of let him go, let him swing naturally, and just gave him really more of just a love of going out to play, made it fun. Now let's watch the rest of Tiger's swing as he steps down and over. His hips shift laterally towards the target about 6 inches. So his pelvis goes from more centered on top of his right foot to on top of his left foot. So it's a fairly big weight shift, finishing up in a classic finish, club touching the base of his neck. Look at where his weight is. It's on the outside of the left heel. A lot of average golfers just simply don't get here, nor do they get into this long finish position. Now, you may not have the flexibility to turn all the way around like this anymore, but that doesn't mean that you should cut your finish off in front of your chest. I think you should still strive to make the longest finish you can. Keep the flexibility going even as you get to an older age. Don't just give up and use age as your excuse. Okay, so what might they have been working on this week? I don't think at this point that Butch Harmon had signed on to be his official coach. They were just working together for a little bit here. But here's an interesting down the line video of Butch. And notice he's got a club with the handle kind of sticking into Tiger's path. they're working on all the stuff I've been talking about in videos lately. They're trying to get Tiger's handle path to exit a little bit more low and left. And this was probably Tiger's biggest flaw at this time, and it was not relatively major, but watch from an up the line angle, and you can see, if you're watching really close, you can see that the handle of the club doesn't quite exit left enough, and it causes him to have to flip the toe over a little bit in order to get the face consistently square. Now, of course, this pattern would set him up for little blocks and hooks. Nothing super major, but certainly not good enough for him to go on in an earnest pursuit of Jack Nicklaus's 18 majors. So again, it begs the question, why would Tiger Woods ever make any major changes to his golf swing? And then why would he do it 2, 3, even 4 times over his career? In my opinion, this version of the Tiger swing would have kept his body relatively healthy, and I think he would have caught and surpassed Jack Nicklaus and won 18 majors or more. Wouldn't it be interesting to be able to peek into an alternate universe where Tiger never made major changes to his swing and see what would have happened? Now, of course, Tiger made all these major changes because he was really a perfectionist. He was just in pursuit, not just of Jack Nicklaus, but he was in pursuit of being the greatest Tiger Woods that he could ever be. So it was just this relentless pursuit of personal perfection in the game of golf, where they say golf is not a game of perfect. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this look at young Tiger Woods before really anybody outside the game of golf had ever heard of him. I just love to go back and watch these swings because of just the natural fluidity and balance and grace of these swings. It seems so much simpler. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I'm Steve, and as usual, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.